the brand Bahamar could be gone.
There are lots of people who want to help us fix it.
The property sits idle, but that does not mean no one is interested.
Who have expressed open interest in that property. There are people who are major investors today in the Bahamas with huge global reach. There are investors from outside of the Bahamas who are interested.
Work on the rebranded, rejuvenated, and revitalized property could start at any moment.
And it's going to not be too long from now when that begins to be seen by the Bahamian people.
Tonight, the future of Bahamar.
We're going to come out big and strong and meaningful as a result of this whole exercise.
The Bahamas Tonight, the national report, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Significant movement in the Bahamar standoff as talks of new buyers have begun, and government also seeks new avenues to re-engage those Bahamians let go. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
And I'm Chris Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, had much to say today on the progression of the Bahamar issue. He says, first and foremost, are the concerns of Bahamians and those Bahamian businesses impacted by the breakdown of the resort's completion and opening. Today, he revealed that major progress is taking place, and while he is anxious to see the resort completed and open, we're hearing tonight that there will be clear changes, including the possible end to the Bahamar name itself. Clint Watson is live in the studio tonight with these new developments. Clint.
Chris, you said it correctly. Prime Minister Right Honorable Perry Christie, he wants it known that the government is working around the clock to bring resolution to the Bahamar issue, and that means exploring a number of new avenues.
We're going to come out big and strong and meaningful as a result of this whole exercise. And it's going to not be too long from now when that begins to be seen by the Bahamian people.
Prime Minister Christie says his government is working to ensure resolution to the Bahamar saga, and that resolution may not be far off with this announcement of what he called good news with potential buyers.
There are lots of people who want to help us fix it, who have expressed open interest in that property. There are people who are major investors today in the Bahamas by name with huge global reach, right? There are investors from outside of the Bahamas who are interested. And I presume by now the bank knows who they are. I have had discussions with some of them. I've had it confirmed by some of them. They've had discussions with the bank. And there are people, some of whom are so well known to the Bahamas in the resort context, that people will be pleased as those names surface, and to know that if those people are interested in being able to take that over, then it's going to be taken over. It's going to be taken over by a world sort of brand kind of investor.
The Prime Minister says Hyatt and SLS continues to be interested. However, SLS had hoped to take over another brand and introduce that new brand on the Bahamar property. That takeover did not happen. Yet Mr. Christie says the SLS group is still interested in acquiring the Rosewood property. In response to Israelian's strong statement this week, Prime Minister Christie says Israelian is wrong in his assertions. The Prime Minister expressed, though, regret that Israelian can no longer sit around the table, having invested so much into the concept. But the Prime Minister admits from day one there was an issue he and the Armenian investor could not agree on.
I didn't agree, for example, on his own initiatives to have his own brand. I always wanted a world-class brand at that site. I want a world-class brand at that site now, because a world-class brand means you don't have to go the old-fashioned way and try to build from the ground up. You inherit 10 million or 5 million customers with a global brand who would come in there and bring it in there. So we have an opportunity now to recast and recalibrate with respect to Bahamar as a destination, or by whatever name it's called, in the new kind of arrangement.
As for those 2,000 employees let go, government is now working on a plan to re-engage them.
That the government would wish to take steps to assist those young persons in particular who are now without work. And since we have this opportunity to commit ourselves to finishing the project, we should take advantage of the fact that we have a group of trained young Bahamians who, rather than let them go off and work for others in a different kind of direction, but if we could hold them together, then they could make an efficient and effective transfer to that project once it is near completion. And that the government of the Bahamas would be prepared to invest in them on the basis that we would have either payment back in whole or in part.
Chris Charisma, as you can tell, things are changing rapidly, and as they do, we'll keep you abreast of the new developments as they unfold. Live in the newsroom, I'm Clint Watson.
Thanks so much, Clint. An active investigation launched into missing funds from the passport office in Grand Bahama. This coming to light following an audit report.
That report was tabled in Parliament, and as Janae Noel Ferguson tells us, the minister responsible for that agency says disciplinary action is being taken.
A female employee of the Ministry of Finance seconded to the Grand Bahama Passport Office is facing possible dismissal for her alleged involvement in more than $25,000 in revenue being missing. The report detailed that during the period July 1st, 2014 to August 21st of this year, $301,175 were collected from the Grand Bahama Passport Office, but only $277,775 were deposited, indicating a gap of $25,400 that was unaccounted for.
We discovered the funds were missing. The management, discovered the funds were missing. And the employee who is suspected of having moved the funds, I'm advised, admitted to taking the money. Okay? So immediately the Department of Public Service was contacted, the Auditor General's Department was contacted, the police were contacted, and her substantive employer, the Ministry of Finance, was contacted.
The report details that from May 20th to July 30th, for 13 days, the cashier with initials MM signed and was verified by another with the initial TD. Then from July 31st to August 6th, the cashier initialed NF signed and was verified again by Officer TD. And again on August 14th, the cashier initialed TD, signed, and was verified by Officer GS. And on August 17th, the report logs are missing. When asked, Mitchell said the fate of the employee alleged to have stolen those funds remains uncertain.
Well, that's a matter for the police. I'm advised that steps have been taken. A show cause letter was issued which may lead to her to the individual's dismissal from the service, so that's where it stands now. And
charges will be filed by?
Again, I don't know. Those are matters which are for the police. And that's why I said, one of the things is you try to, I know the fashion is now to just go after people who you suspect, so on and so forth. But, you don't want to do things which are prejudicial.
Now, the report concluded that persons responsible for the cash book must explain why it was not updated and why the missing funds were not discovered for almost 4 months.
The service believes is that the systems are in place, but the system wasn't followed. And so there has to be some management changes to be sure that the system in future is followed, and I'm advised that those things have been put in place.
Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
It's been 1 year since the new immigration policy came into effect, and since that time, government has taken a no-tolerance approach to rid the country of those who are not here legally. Immigration Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, says the rules are being enforced and most people are complying. This comes as another group of migrants were found off Long Island this morning. The 83 men, 20 women, and 9 children were found on board a 30-foot wooden sloop. Just recently, another group of immigrants were found in Eleuthera, which Mitchell tells us what officers discovered while processing the group.
We later discovered from one of the persons that we interdicted a cell phone. And in the cell phone, surprise, surprise, there are warnings coming from one of the activists in New Providence that immigration is leaving to come to Eleuthera and Yalmascatta. Picture, words, so on and so forth. So you know that matter has certainly been referred to the police. I can assure you it's been referred to the police because we have been saying all along that people in New Providence who are Bahamians, who are supposed to be loyal Bahamians, have been feeding this and guiding this unlawful activity from the north of Haiti. And it appears on the face of it that we may now have the evidence of that.